Our next topic is àjogúnbá àwọn Yoruba, that is the traditional occupation of the Yoruba people. Some of these traditional occupations are iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀, farming, iṣẹ́ ọdẹ, hunting, aṣọ híhun, weaving, aró dídá, tie and dye, àgbẹ̀dẹ, blacksmith, ìlù lílù, drumming, ìlà kíkọ, facial mark, àwo, that is traditional herbalist, ìkòkò mímọ, pottery, gbẹ́nàgbẹ́nà, these are artists, and so on. Let's talk about iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀, that is farming. There are about 4 types of farming. Iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ mẹ́rin la ní. First is àgbẹ̀ onírúgbìn, that is planting of crops. Crops like àgbàdo, corn, iṣu, yam, ọkà bàbà, that is guinea corn, pákí, cassava, ata, pepper, ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀, banana or plantain, cocoa, that is what you call cocoa, uobi, that is kola nut, ẹ̀gúsí, melon, and so on. Second type of farming that we have is àgbẹ̀ ẹlẹ́ran ọ̀sìn, that is rearing of animals like pig, ẹlẹ́dẹ̀, goat, ewúrẹ́, màálù, cow, and so on. The next is àgbẹ̀ alárojẹ, that is subsistence farming. Okay, this type of farming is mainly for consumption. Then we have àgbẹ̀ aládàá-ńlá, that is commercial farming. So 4 types of farming that we have in Yoruba. Now, some of the farm implements that we can mention are, call them ohun èlò iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀. They are ọkọ́, that is hoe, àdá, cutlass, àáké, axe, apẹ̀rẹ̀, that's basket, akọ́rọ́, that is sickle or go to hell, and ọ̀bẹ, knife, and so on. Now, moving on to another traditional occupation of Yoruba people, I want to talk about iṣẹ́ ọdẹ, that is hunting. Hunting is believed to be an occupation that is in terms of killing of animals and for security purposes. In Yoruba, we believe that Ogun, the god of iron, was the first hunter in Yoruba land. Okay, and hunting is mainly for men, right? Iṣẹ́ ọkùnrin ni iṣẹ́ ọdẹ. Now, we call them ọdẹ. The occupation is also called iṣẹ́ ọdẹ, and the people that are into it are called ọdẹ, right? Now, we have types of hunting. Okay, number 1, ọdẹ ìgbẹ́, that is main hunter. The main hunters, these are hunters that go into the bush to kill, wild animals like ẹkùn, that is tiger, kìnìún, lion, ekulu, that's chimpanzee, ìnàkí, and so on. Now, talking about their own ammunitions, or what they use as main hunters, they have gun, ìbọn, àdá, they use cutlass, ọ̀bẹ, knife, and charms in different forms. Another types of hunting that we have is ọdẹ ìtílé, that is petty hunters. These are hunters that hunt for small animals like òkété, that is rabbit, èkúté, rats, ọ̀yà, that is grass cutter, birds, ẹyẹ, and so on. Now, most of their animals are for consumption, right? The third types of hunting that we have is ọdẹ aṣọ́dẹ. These are security guards. Okay, these are, in those days, the powerful hunters that are usually, doing security guards. Okay, they are for, guiding against, guide our properties and our lives. Okay, they watch over our properties and our lives. In most cases, in those days, they don't have salary. We don't pay them salary, but people have to appreciate them by giving them gifts. All right. Now, we call this type of hunting àbọ̀ṣẹ́. Àbọ̀ṣẹ́ means that is, it is not their main job, Okay, it's just like when they are through with their main job, they now do security guards like a part-time job. So part-time job means aboshe, that is in those days. They have they are in possession of different charms, okay, and sometimes they have to divide towns into sections to watch over, right? And these are some of the people that are gathered in those days to go for war. During war time, they gather the security guards to go for war. That is that about Ode Ashode, that is security guard. The fourth type of hunting that I want to mention is Ode Adedo. These are fishermen. Okay, their mainly occupation is to kill water animals like eja, fish, and the rest of them. Their implements are àwọn, that is nets. Now we have igiri, like baskets, long baskets that they use to catch fish. Then you have iwo, that is hook and line. These are some of the implements of the fishermen. That is that about Ishe Ode, that is hunting. Moving on to another occupation, that is blacksmith. Ishe Agbede. Ishe Agbede. These are people that are into making of hoes, oko, cutlass, ada, ake, axe, takute, trap, obe, knife. These are the people that are making them. We call them alagbede. The occupation is Ishe Agbede, that is blacksmith. Then those are into it, we call them alagbede, that is in Yoruba land. And their workshop is called Ilearo, or Ile Agbede. That is the name given to their workshop. Okay, it is an occupation that is primarily meant for Iremogun lineage, people that are from that lineage in Yoruba land. Iremogun is blacksmith is their major occupation. Some of their implements are ewiri. Ewiri is what they make to blow the fire. Then we have emu. Emu is just like their local plier that they can pick hot iron from the fire. Then we have owu. Owu is just one small metal on which other things are being made. Okay, they put the hot iron on them to heat them. Then we have a omowu, that is smaller, iron to heat another iron. Then we have agbadaomi, that is a bucket of water. Then we have igbaro. Igbaro is just a calabash that contains small implements. All right. We have iwana. Iwana is just an implement that they used to, search the fire for any small iron in there to bring it out. Or sometimes they want to put iron into that fire and cover it up. They cannot use their hand, they use iwana to cover or to remove hot iron from the fire. We have iko. Iko is just short iron that they use to cut another iron. That is iko. Then we have ilu. Ilu is a long, sharp iron that is having a wooden, handle that can be used to pierce wooden part of a hole so that you create a hole in it. That is ilu. Then ogun is also a name given to that big rock in the middle of the blacksmith on which hot big iron is being hit. So that is that about some traditional occupation of the Yoruba people that we want to mention. We quickly want to add another topic into this video, and that is bí èdè Yorùbá ṣe di kíkọ sílẹ̀. This is how Yoruba was reduced to writing. Okay, now for many years Yoruba remained in spoken form. For many years Yoruba remain in spoken forms. We don't have a written document, all right, until the advent of the white men. And white men came into Africa for two major reasons. One is to spread the Christianity as a religion, and second, to trade with us as Africans. Those are the two reasons why white men came to Africa. And they cannot trade with a people that do not have the language that is written therein, allowing them to be able to read and understand that language, and for them also to be able to communicate to other people. That is why Yoruba as a language have some white men that participated in how Yoruba was reduced to writing. So therefore, now I want to talk about some people that participated in how Yoruba was reduced to writing. That actually started around 1817 to 1839. So I want to mention the name of a man, that is Mr. Bowditch. Mr. Bowditch is an Englishman, and what he did was to compile, Yoruba words. That is his only assignment then. Now, somebody that further improve on this work is a woman called Hannah Kilam. Hannah Kilam came to Africa 3 times between 1824 and 1830. He came to Africa to tell us the importance of having our own orthography, our own accepted mode of writing. Okay, now he loved African languages, all right, and he was the first person to give us the method of writing Yoruba. That is Hannah Kilam. He was the one that developed our numbers from number 1 to number 10. Now, other people are John Raban. John Raban also compiled Yoruba words and divided into 3 sections. Yoruba, and that was in 1830 and 1832. All right, another person, and this work rather, I help our own Samuel Ajayi Crowther in his own work. So that will lead us to Samuel Ajayi Crowther. Samuel Ajayi Crowther is a native of Oshogu in Oyo State. Okay, he was part of the people that are enslaved by the white men. But after his release, he went to pastor school and in Freetown, okay, and in 1842, and became pastor in 1843. He translated English Bible to Yoruba in 1844 and 1856. He was first person to use a Yoruba Bible, a verse from Yoruba Bible. Having translated English Bible to Yoruba, was the first person to preach with a verse from the Yoruba Bible. That is in 1844 and 1856. All right, and the chapter or verse from that Yoruba Bible is called Luke 1. Luke 1, verse 35. Okay, he used that to preach in 1844. In 1852, he published a book that is Yoruba Grammar and Vocabulary. Grammar and Vocabulary in Yoruba. That was the Yoruba name of that book. It was one that suggested Yoruba nasal vowels. Àwọn fáwẹ́lì àránmúpè. There are some vowels in Yoruba that are nasal, that are produced with nose. They are and So it was Ajayi Crowther that suggested them in 1858. Also, he was the chairman of a conference in 1875 that was held in CMS, St. Peter, Lagos, to discuss on the orthography of Yoruba. So the people that collaborated are CMS, that's Christian Mission Society, Methodist and Catholic. All right, that is that about Ajayi Crowther. The next person is Reverend C.A. Goma. Reverend C.A. Goma lived in Badagry that time, okay, and he was the first person to make correction to Ajayi Crowther's work in 1847. Criticized it because Ajayi Crowther used Italian language rather than English language as its basics. Okay, so it was Reverend C.A. Goma that suggested that a letter should go for an alphabet. Okay. Now, it's also said that any letter or any alphabet that you don't have a letter for, okay, we should just leave it like that. Suggested we should write A and O, then N and B instead of NG, and BH. Okay. He agreed that we should be using 2 marks for our words. He was the one that translated a book called Àdúrà Òwúrọ̀, Decalogue, and ìwé ìrere Matthew, that's St. Matthew, book of St. Matthew. This Reverend C.O. Goma was the one that translated them. Okay, that is that about Goma. Next person is Henry Townsend. Henry Townsend's contribution was that he established a printing firm in Abeokuta. Sílẹ, the printing firm in Abeokuta was established by him, and he published the first Yoruba newspaper, ìwé ìròyìn àkọ́kọ́. The first Yoruba newspaper was published by Henry Townsend in 1848. He also published a hymn as a prayer book in 1848. The next person is Henry Vane. Henry Vane. His own contribution was that he was the General Secretary of CMS, Christian Missionary Society, between 1841 and 1872. Lastly, we want to mention A.M. Thomas. A.M. Thomas' contribution was that he published another Yoruba newspaper called ìwé ìròyìn Èkó. ìwé ìròyìn Èkó, that's the name of that Yoruba newspaper, and that was in 1888.